Hello, everyone. So, today our topic is the major concerns of adolescence. Very important topic where we'll be talking about the three major concerns. One is, of course, the delinquency. Then we have the substance abuse, and the last we have is the eating disorders. Now, talking about the delinquency, if you see children, a delinquent essentially is a minor child, who's usually between the age of 10 to 17. And he's actually been caught doing certain illegal activities or been caught exhibiting illegal behavior. So they are the ones who are delinquents and referred to the juvenile delinquents. And delinquency definitely is basically the variety of behaviors, and all of these behaviors which are exhibited by usually these minors, they are socially unacceptable behaviors. They could be legal offenses, they could be criminal acts, and some examples of delinquency is truancy, there's stealing, there's vandalism. So truancy, if you see, is basically absenteeism. That is what is the meaning of truancy. Absenteeism, where children don't turn up and they don't really come to school. They show this escapist attitude. They don't turn up for classes. There's too much of absenteeism. So that is truancy. Coming to, of course, vandalism is, damaging of property. We do observe a lot of children who unnecessarily damage school property. They deliberately damage a lot of things in the school, and they also try and do it at home and elsewhere. So that is vandalism. And of course, so when we come back to the adolescents, and their behavioral problems, they are definitely going to have a very, very negative self identity, and a decreased trust and a very low level of achievement. So, this is how the delinquents are. Their self identity is extremely negative. So basically, self identity is their own perception about themselves. That's quite negative. It is all about what they really think about themselves, their own perceptions. And it's now the root cause. If we think of delinquency, where is it coming from? What is the origin of delinquency? Definitely it could be, the low parental support. Maybe they've not been brought up in a very disciplined environment. Also they've been growing up seeing a lot of family discord, a lot of issues within the family, fights, disputes, and of course. And even when we talk about especially these minors, these adolescents between the age range of course, mainly the adolescents, but of course, committing these criminal offenses. So they actually could be necessarily, coming from communities that generally are characterized by too much of poverty. There's unemployment. Also, they feel alienated, you know um, from the middle class. And of course they tend to have been performing these antisocial acts, also because they want to really gain a lot of attention. They want to become the center of attraction, and they want to gain a lot of popularity, and that is what they do. And but one thing is there that's quite hopeful, is that these delinquents will not remain delinquents forever. And once they bring about a change in their friend circle, that is their peer group, and once they try and become more and more aware of their social responsibilities, and they do develop a feeling of self-worth, it's definitely going to help them break delinquency, because they will also be learning a lot of positive behavior, looking at their role models, and they can really overcome their own poor self concept. So, of course, self concept is all about the belief about one own self, who they really are. It's basically all about them. about really understanding who they really are, their beliefs about themselves, so they can really overcome that kind of poor self concept also. So now coming to the next one, which is of course the substance abuse. And we know that substance abuse is generally seen in these very important three areas. One is smoking, one is alcohol, and the third is drug abuse. So when they become vulnerable to this, they do exhibit this concern of substance abuse also, you know and of course they do take up to smoking and drugs. They probably think that's the only way left to cope up with stress. And once they become addicted, it's going to interfere a lot with their with the development of coping skills, because somehow they don't want to cope with anything. They don't want to try over getting over the basic stress of life. They don't want to face anything in life. So they feel that just because we are not able to face, we cannot summon forth the ability to face situations. We don't think we can cope up with this. Let us take up drugs, alcohol, or smoking. you know and the reasons can be because there could be again a lot of pressure coming from the friend circle, where your friends influence you. They give you hints to try. They give you maybe their own views of really liking it, and they kind of push you into it. So there can be an influence coming from there. Also, it could be because they feel that people feel that oh, he's not been drinking, smoking, so he cannot be a part of our group. So just to look cool and to feel more accepted, some children push themselves to take up substance abuse. And of course it could also be where they want to try and be like adults, because they look at people who are grown-ups and they want to take the feel like them. And maybe it could be because they want to escape a certain pressure that they could be feeling. It could be examination pressure, it could be excessive school pressure, it could be something happening in the environment, and they feel that this could be their escape you know so of course it's very difficult to quit smoking once started, because the nicotine it eventually kind of makes you more and more addictive to it. And so kids somehow become vulnerable to drugs, alcohol, nicotine. And all those who are very, very vulnerable and the ones who get addictive, of course, are going to show behaviors which are very, very socially unacceptable, of like, aggressiveness, a lot of anxiety. Also, they can be depressed, or at times very impulsive, with a very, very low self esteem, and very unpredictable behavior. Anything can happen anytime. And and also like don't really feel the need to achieve anything much. And so they want to be, of course, with their peer group. And they really want to try and experiment with different kinds of drugs, alcohol, and smoking. you know and they feel that because I want to be with my friends, I'll have to do all of this, or else I'll be kicked out of the group, or I'll be ridiculed. you know and of course then if too much of drug is being continuously consumed, it is going to have ill effects on the children, like a lot of physiological um, dependency that we can see. It is going to affect the adolescents' lives. And when we talk about relationships with parents, peers, siblings, it is going to play a very, very important role in how you can prevent adolescents from taking drugs. How the parents should be in the loop. There should be good friends around you. There should be your siblings playing a very, very, very supportive role, in a way that they can really take a stand against such kind of a drug or substance abuse, and can really get you out of it, not supporting you to take it. So a good role needs to be played by all these people around you. And then, of course, there are a lot of drug programs that are being run, you know um, in a lot of places in India. We do have drug programs being run, and we do also have the UNDCP, which is the United Nations International Drug Control Program, and that has been adopted by a lot of non-governmental organizations also, and a lot of other kind of programs are also started coming up, and to educate people, where they are making use of certain performances. They are taking help of a lot of artists to entertain people, and also while entertaining them, they are giving a message, sending across a message that let's say no to drugs. And then coming to the last disorder, which is the eating disorder, where we do have the two most important eating disorders. We have the anorexia, we have the bulimia. So in anorexia, of course, you want to become thin, and with this kind of an eating disorder, adolescents, they just starve themselves. They don't eat food, and they come up with all kinds of excuses. My stomach is aching, I've already had food. You also see them wasting food, or throwing it somewhere else, or giving it to their friends. So they come up with all sorts of excuses. They literally starve themselves to look extremely thin. So that is anorexia. And also, we do have um, another disorder, which is bulimia. And in bulimia, they are, of course, there is this binge and purge kind of a pattern that they follow, where, of course, firstly they eat a lot of food, and then they make use of certain laxatives, and they can make use of certain medicines, or maybe even try and um, vomit out whatever they've had. So, either with the help of laxatives, or through some medicines, or just by themselves, they'll force themselves to puke, they'll force themselves to vomit, because they start feeling the guilt that, oh, I've had so much food I shouldn't have had. So they vomit out. So, this is what happens in bulimia. First, they fill their tummies, and then they take off everything from their tummy. They just vomit out everything. So this is what happens in bulimia. And anorexia is all about starving yourselves to look extremely thin. So these two disorders, if you see, they are primarily seen in females, and very very common in the urban families. We do see the second disorder, which is bulimia, very common in models. They do this, they practice this. And even anorexia could be one very prominent there. And adolescents also tend to exhibit these kind of eating disorders, but very very important to not get conscious, and instead eat right food, eat healthy food, and stay fit, but never to diet, never to cut short on your meals, never to avoid meals. So that's one thing, as adolescents, you must remember. Thank you so much.